Hello, 3D modeling class. Today, we are looking at creating a character and considerations when modeling a character in Blender. So, this is going to be, we're going to cover characters for a couple weeks. Today, we're just going to be like modeling a character, polygon modeling, mesh modeling. Next week, we'll look at hair and clothing. So that'll be a little bit more exciting. And your first official assignment will cover next week. But your first assignment is going to be to create a character. So I mentioned that specifically we're doing like mesh polygon modeling of a character, and there are other ways to do it. This is the way that makes sense in Blender, but there are other programs that kind of specialize in character creation. One of them is ZBrush, which is a sculpting program. And actually, I believe that if you've seen in previous semesters Maxon, that I've talked about the Maxon kind of software family. It's sort of like Creative Cloud. But I think Maxon purchased ZBrush, so that's going to be like folded into that Maxon One subscription, which you can get as a student for it's like 6 months for $5 or something crazy like that. So I'll look into that a little bit more. But actually, I just got an email that was like, "Hey, welcome to ZBrush, the thing and the stuff Maxon," and I was like, "Oh, interesting." So more to come on that. Anyway, so like there's ZBrush is like sculpting characters. There's also NURBS. Well, there's a method called NURBS modeling, and what NURBS is, I actually have to Google it in RBS. And NURBS are in Blender. NURBS stands for Non-Uniform Rational Spline. Non-uniform rational B-spline. Okay, I'm trying to get this window over here for you guys to see. Wikipedia, love ya. So it's sort of like procedural generation of surfaces rather than just like actual physical manipulation. So it's basically like using curves to create stuff. But for this purpose, I'm going to just show you a quick example of just regular polygonal modeling. Was that the only other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, I was talking about the assignment. So your first assignment, which will start next week, is going to be to create a character. You'll have another like hourly or 1 hour model this week. But you can start, like if you have an idea that you want to maybe start on or experiment with this week as part of following along with this lecture, that's great. I am going to model like a super duper simple kind of cartoony character because I feel like it's a personal weakness that I can't do like humanoid characters. And I'll cover like some considerations as you're building a character, because there's like a few things that you should try to determine ahead of time, and some ways that you can get set up early on in your creation process that'll help you along the way. Okay, and really the first step of creating a character is to come up with an idea. You may be like a illustrator, someone who can actually put a pencil on a paper and make some cool things. I am not talented in that way, but I hold some things in my head a little bit, and so I'm gonna open up Paint and just kind of sketch out my idea. And like if there's something specific you're trying to create too, always look at reference images. So it's like, you know what, I want to make a squirrel person. So let's just like go on your search machine and search squirrels, SQUIRELS, and like find some images of squirrels. there are like idea board apps that you can use that you can just like drag pictures onto. I know Blender Guru uses one. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But it's like, just observe a little bit. Take some notes. That is not a squirrel. Arctic ground squirrel? That's like a hedgehog, right? There's so many different kinds of squirrels. Where I live in Minneapolis, squirrels are evil. They like dig up flowers, and one winter they like chewed off the Christmas lights on my house because I had those like bigger bulbs, and they like just chewed them off. I don't know what, like, were you gonna try to eat it or what? Also, just a couple weeks ago, my kids were like on our like front steps in the front yard, and he was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he just had it on a plate on the steps, and he like walked out into the front yard, and a squirrel came and like just grabbed the sandwich and ran. We're like, what? Like we're sitting right here. They're like gangster squirrels in our neighborhood. It's crazy. What are we talking about? Reference images. Always find some reference images. Like anytime you start, my recommendation is anytime you start any kind of creative like process where you're making something from scratch, especially in 3D, just like spend 10 minutes just looking, just thinking, putting like sketch something out, or find a picture that tickles your fancy, that you're gonna kind of have your inspiration. Be your inspiration or your jumping off point. So like, in my head, hashtag dark mode. I want to make a character, and I want it to be, how do you use this program? I just want it to be, I want it to be like kind of cartoony. So he's like going to be kind of a circle. Okay, that's not what I was expecting to happen. Color 1 is white, please. There we go. So he'll be kind of a circle. Maybe there's like another little circle for his head. And then just like, like kind of like some stubby arms, and maybe just like mitten hands like this. In the days of the internet before YouTube, there was a website called homestarrunner.com, and it was Flash videos, but they were like super funny, and they had these like characters, and me making this is reminding me of one of the characters was called Strong Sad. I'm sad. Okay, so this is like kind of what I'm going off of. Color 2, I want to be black, so just like erase this. This is my baseline character. I'll create something that kind of looks like this. So here's your tip. When you're creating a character, so if you're someone who's like, I'm a modeler, I'm not an animator, which I think is not doesn't speak for a lot of people in this class. But if you're someone who's like maybe less interested in animating and more interested in modeling, when you create characters, you should put them in a T pose like this. So arms out, legs separate. They call this a T pose, or like an A pose with the arms at the side. So it's so that you have options with this character in the future. So you may not be animating it, but you may want it to be in different poses at different times, so you can reuse this character. So like maybe like you're making a render where your character is like thinking, and they're doing the thinker. Or maybe you want to have another render where it's like an action shot where they're like jumping or something. So you want to be able to move the arms and legs. And if you model your character in a specific pose, and like the arms are touching or the legs are crossed or something like that, it's pretty much impossible to change it after the fact. So we'll go through. I'll just put this character together sort of quickly, and I'll put like a simple rig on it, or a simple armature on it, just so that you can move it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's just start. Let's go over to Blender. And actually, before we go over to Blender, I want to just like introduce a concept first, and that's the topology aspect of this. So topology is like a term for just like the different like polygons and how they're arranged on your model. So if I do like a Google or a something search of I googled Pixar topology, and so this is like looking at how the whoa, my something home was talking to me behind me. What we're looking at here is how the polygons are like arranged on the character. So like you can maybe see a couple of familiar faces here. Elastigirl from The Incredibles or Mr. Incredible. This is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. But you can see that there's not a ton of polygons in this mesh. Where there's more detail, the polygons are smaller, closer together. And that's also like where there would be animation. So like the face and the mouth, or no, specifically the mouth has a lot of animation. So you would want to have a little bit more detail there because things will be moving. And if you've got large polygons, large chunks that you would be animating, larger parts of the face would be moving anytime you want the mouth to move. So this is just to like illustrate that, it's not a perfect science. I remember the internet kind of went crazy over Elastigirl's topology here because like there's like right along her cheek here, there's like a few like interesting shapes. And like this, creating good character topology is like a skill for sure, that is practiced. But anyway, this is, this Bing Bong is from Inside Out. Oh, here's Woody too. That, there's some detail, but like this, can we see the number here? Faces, that might be like 38,000 or 34,000 or something like that. So it's kind of a lot, but it's not an outrageous number. I would guess that this is on the high end, that this is maybe somebody else made this Woody. That you're probably like 20,000 polygons. Anyway. Blender. So on that note, so I showed you, my strong set here. The shape that I start with also has a consideration, and there's a few ways that you can think about it. No, this is gonna bug me. I'm gonna just slide this and slide this. There we go. Okay. So if I'm creating a round character, I can go Shift A and I can add a UV sphere. Now, looking at this, I kind of see a problem with the topology of a UV sphere. So it has, what do you call those? Four-sided polygons, rectangles, quads is what I guess they call them, quads. But they get increasingly smaller and smaller, and they all meet at this point right here at the top. And like this can cause problems for characters, especially if you're smoothing. So like if I do a Command 3 here, or Control 3, you can see that like in my subdivision surface that there's like these little ridges along here, and that's not ideal. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm also going to turn on my key and stroke. Let's go. And all right, I lost my train of thought. So that was, let's delete that. And so let's look at the difference between that and a icosphere. So this is made up of triangles, tris. And anytime you add something into the scene, remember you can like up the number of subdivisions. But the nice thing about an icosphere is that all the faces are the exact same size. So if I just do 3 subdivisions like this, and I do a Control 2, and a shade smooth. Like it looks very flat and even. And there's no bunching up, and all of the polygons are the exact same size. So that's an advantage of doing it that way. I'll give you another way, and that's with the cube method, and just start with a subdivision surface on here, like do a Control 2. So you can see that with a subdivision on a cube, it's created, something that is spherical, and is also made out of quads, four-sided polygons. I think people enjoy working with quads just a little bit better. And so like, and maybe you even kind of recognize this shape where there's kind of like a lopsided quad on the top, and then like a couple rows, and then a mirroring quad on the bottom. Kind of looks like what happened to Miss Elastigirl's cheek right here. So you can kind of see how these sorts of things happen. And this is maybe the way that I'm going to go to start here, because I feel like extruding quads kind of just, the symmetry kind of makes more sense to me in this way. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this subdivision modifier and I'm going to bake it on here. So because it's just 2 levels of subdividing. So what I'm going to do is you can either hit the drop down and hit apply like this, or there was also there's something in the menu here that I forget. It's like set geometry to something. But I find that the easiest method. And so from here, we can do a couple things. The first is I'll probably start with a mirror modifier, because to begin, okay, let me back up a little bit. So, and this is really when modeling anything, but you should start with like the base form, start with the big pieces, the big chunks, and then gradually add in detail. So like when you're doing something that is symmetrical or generally symmetrical, start with the things that are symmetrical first. Get those kind of in place. And then once you're done with the symmetry, you can remove the mirror modifier and then begin adding your detail. So let's cut this in half, and oops, wrong button here. Let's cut this in half and add our mirror modifier. So don't forget 1 on the number pad to give us our front view. I'll go tab for edit mode. I'm going to turn on X-ray select, which is Alt-Z. I'm going to select all of the, I'm going to go 3 for face select. I'm going to grab all these on the left, delete faces. We can go tab for back into object mode. There we go. Make sure your mouse is in the correct window. Add modifier. So again, modifiers are here on the wrench. Add modifier, and we're going to do mirror modifier. So this is mirroring. Because I did this from the front view, we can see the red line here signals the X, so it's going to mirror on the X direction. I'm going to turn on clipping so that it stays connected at the center. Great. All right. So we've got our like basic mesh that we can form off of here. The other thing I'm going to, and this is another like style choice that you can make, or a process choice that you can make, is from here adding another subdivision surface modifier. So, we can go, we're in our modifier menu, you can do subsurface here. And then maybe do a shade smooth, right click shade smooth here. Now remember, the ordering matters. So if you put the mirror, so it goes top to bottom, if you put subdivide before mirror, you can actually, maybe you can see it, but like I get a little point on the top because it's subdividing the rounded half thing and then mirroring it second. Whereas if I rearrange these, you can see that my top is rounded. Anyway, so do your subdivide last in line. Now edit mode. So there's a couple, or actually I'm going to turn off X-ray select as well, Alt-Z. One other thing again, this is a choice you can make, is turning on this snap or on cage thing here with mirror, or sorry, whoops, not on mirror. Let me minimize that. On cage on subdivision. So this kind of like sucks the edges and vertices onto, it kind of projects them onto the surface of the subdivided thing. Maybe I'll even do 2 like that, so that you can see where they land. Because like if I didn't have this on and I were to if I were to go 1 for vertex select and I were to like pull this out, some of them would like disappear inside the mesh. So like this vertice right here is like hidden inside, but if I do on cage, it kind of projects it out onto the top. So you can see I'm already getting a little like Kirby thing here. Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so now it's just like a little bit of modeling time. So just kind of bear with me as I kind of talk out loud and work through this. So we'll do 3 for face select. And, you know, the other thing I could have done is maybe like had another row. Like I could have done, what am I trying to say? A loop cut through the center. So actually let's, you know what? We're not really that far along. So let me do that real quick. Cause how long did it really take me to make this? So let me just delete this object. I'll go Shift A, I'll do a cube. We can do like Control 2 like this, but then I want to do Tab for edit mode, Control R for a loop cut. I'll do 1 in the center this way, and then right click. And I'm also going to do 1 in the center this way. Where's my little cursor? There we go. Right click. Yeah, but see, you know what this is doing is it's like making it not round. So actually I am going to undo that. I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to apply this, and let's do a Control 2 again. And a right click shade smooth. We'll turn this on. Oh, I also want to go Tab for edit mode, and I want to go 1 for front view. And I'll do 3 for face select, turn on my X-ray select. So I'm really just redoing everything I just did, delete faces. Okay, add mirror modifier, and drop that there. Okay, let's just go with it. Let's just see what happens here. So I'm going to take, so the other thing you can do is bevel a point. So like, why don't I go 1 for vertex select, and we can just have the arms come like straight out of here like this. And so I'll bevel this point, which I believe is Control Shift B. Yeah, to bevel a single point and kind of like open it up like this. I'll do that a little bit. And then you can extrude this out. So this will be like hands. Here's another like tricky choice that you have to make, or arms. We'll leave it there for now. For legs, so you can see like I'm selecting the mirrored one on the other side as well. So I should just look at my reference image. Like, do I want it to be kind of my reference image? Do I want it to be like coming straight out of the bottom, or are they going to be more at the side? I don't know. Let's just adjust. So remember, if you want them to be like individual here, you would just turn off. Oh, and I don't have clipping on anyway. You would turn off clipping to have like 2 separate legs like that. If I had clipping on, whoops, and let me undo. If I had clipping on while I did that, it would be like, it'd be a pogo stick. Let me just undo that. Let's turn clipping off. I actually kind of liked how this worked with having them be lower, because the other option for me would be to be like on the sides like this, and I think that's a little bit too goofy. That's like starfish. Okay, so I'm just getting the base form together, and it's like I'm making a very cartoony character. So like, because I'm admittedly not great at making characters. Okay, let's go on the top here. So let's grab these ones. We'll keep these ones together. So we've got clipping on. Let me extrude these up here. So this is going to be kind of like a stubby little head. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to Control R, add a loop cut, so that we can kind of start to get a little bit of shape of the head here. And I'm going to S scale this down. Maybe I'm also going to do another loop cut here, so that we can kind of have a little bit more, and then I'm going to S scale this up. So like a little bit more of a like neck shape here. So again, like I'm working on like large chunks at a time. So like I'm just doing like stumps for arms and stumps for legs and like a blob for head. And we'll slowly add in the detail. All right. Let's see. How about let's like work on his legs a little bit. So I kind of feel like what do we want to do with the legs here? It kind of feels like we maybe made a mistake. I think maybe I do want to extrude these here. And then like just kind of bring all of these things in. So if I go 1 for frontal view, whoops, 1 for front view, do my X-ray select. I'm gonna grab all these edges here. Can I grab, let's see if I can do this. Grab all these ones, yes. And these two, yeah. I suppose I could have just done faces. And I'm just gonna like G move these in a little bit and R rotate these in a little bit. Just so he's got like a little room down there. There we go. Okay. Looking a little better. Turning off X-ray select. I'm gonna grab these two here. Oops, 3 for faces. Grab these two. I'm gonna E extrude and then E extrude again and then E extrude again. That's kind of one way to do it without doing the loop cuts. So I can do 2 for edge select. Give me a loop cut and I can GZ move these down, scale this out maybe a little bit. Alt click on this loop on his neck and kind of S scale this in, GZ move it down a little bit. Okay. We're starting to get my little plump guy. Oh yeah, and like I realized that I kind of grabbed these front ones too. So we might have to like eventually kind of rotate him forward so he's kind of like on his feet. Okay, speaking of feet. I'm going to add a loop cut down here so that we can kind of have a little bit more definition in the feet. And I'm going to go 3 for face select, and I'm going to E extrude this out here. And this is going to be, you know, his toes. He'll just have like little toes like that. This is looking kind of funky. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hide my subdivide here. Oh yeah, so like the foot is really small. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2 for edge select. I'm going to go GG and kind of slide this up a little bit. GG, slide this one up too. And then can I slide it along here? No, maybe we'll just G grab this one. Move it up kind of on my own. So now if I turn on, so you know, the other thing to just like keep an eye on is like as you're moving things with the on cage visible, you may be like dragging things over you may be dragging vertices across each other or crossing edges, and that's a problem. So sometimes it's good to just like check in, like make sure like things aren't getting too wonky. Like I can see all the faces, nothing's getting crossed. Let's just turn this back on. Okay, so that's like a little bit more of a normal foot. Maybe I'll adjust the back here just a little bit, just so that his feet are kind of underneath him a little bit more. Select these points. Are those the points that I want? I don't want this one. Okay, let's give me a side view. Let's kind of, we'll G, just kind of move these back a little bit, rotate a little bit. It's got a little bit of a butt, but that's cool. Okay. The other thing that you can do if you want is like, you can do edge creases. So like here, what you could do is you could go 2 for edge select and alt click this loop here if it'll let me. Sometimes loop selection is kind of tricky, but luckily it's only 4 here, so I can just grab them manually. And control E. Nope. Oh, sorry, it's Shift E. Shift E. Why isn't this working? Shift E. There we go. Can make an edge crease. So if you want it to be like a little bit more defined, or to be like a creased edge, obviously, hence the term edge crease, you can do that. But honestly, like that kind of looks a little freaky to me, so I'm going to undo that. I like kind of more of the rounded thing. I might do it maybe just a little bit up here, just so that his arms have a little bit more definition. Shift E, not Control E. We'll kind of suck that in a little bit. I'm gonna maybe do the same thing with the neck here. So maybe I'll select like this here. Let's see what effect this has. Shift E, add a little edge crease. And then maybe we can go 3 for face select, kind of grab these. Maybe just like scale these in a little bit. Am I getting a little too crazy? Am I getting a little ahead of myself? Okay. Let's also work on the hand. So I'm going to like SY, kind of start to make it a little skinnier here like this. Again, it's a little cartoony. And, you know, T-pose is kind of what we're shooting for. So maybe what I should do is I should kind of G-move this down here like this. So he's more of at a traditional T-pose. Maybe I'll go 2 for edge select. No, that's fine. Right there at the shoulder. So I'll grab 3 for edge select. Let me extrude again here. And you know what I need is I think I need to, I right click to undo that. I think I actually need this one to be a little bit closer because I think I wanted him to have elbows. So it's like this will be the elbow. I'll E extrude one more time and this will kind of be to the wrist. I'll E extrude one more time and that's going to be the hand. So I'm going to turn off my subdivision thing here just so I can see this a little bit better. And I kind of forgot that I had done it diamond style, which is throwing me off a little bit. But that's okay. What I maybe should have done was just like had this square be the arm. Don't worry about that later. So this is going to be the hand. So let's I'm going to go 2 for edge select, select this loop here, and let's scale this one down. That's going to be the wrist. I don't know what I'm doing here. 1. Just going to want it to be a little bit more of a normal pose. This is going to be the hand. So I'm actually going to make a cut. I'm going to use my knife tool. And I want to make a cut from this vertex to this vertex, spacebar. Because I kind of want to have like, just like a pincher or just a mitten or something. And so what I can do is then I want my selection tool, which is W. 3 for face, and I just want to extrude this one here and scale this one way down, G move this, and then this is going to be like the other hand, part of the hand, so we'll extrude that like that. So again, like very crude to begin with. Let's see what this looks like with our subdivision thing on. So he's got like crazy long arms right now. So we're going to need to reel this in. Turn on my X-ray select. So I'm just going to kind of reel it in a little bit. I want the hand to be much smaller. And maybe even if I select all of this, maybe we can SZ scale it down like this a little bit. R rotate, G. And then I just want to check in on this to see that it's not too wonky. Yeah, that seems to be okay. What else can we do to the hand here? We probably need to like have it oriented forward a little bit more. Go underneath. Turn it forward. You should kind of keep in mind what a actual living creature looks like. Obviously, I am choosing not to make an active living creature. I'm choosing to make strong sad. But like think about like how like is this, you know, obviously this is a kind of a resting position here that we're doing with the arms out, that the T pose. But like would something's arm actually bend this way, or would it be a little bit more forward? I need to work on this hand a little bit more. It's bothering me. I'm going to grab these ones here and kind of make this a little larger this way. Make this hand, yeah, so it's a little bit more mitten-like. Great. Okay, that's feeling a little better. I think this part of the hand, just this part of the hand needs to come in a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's feeling better. That's more like a mitten. So just like small adjustments will get you there. Arms don't feel too long. It's got stubby legs, but maybe that's part of the character. Okay, last few things here in just creating the character. We are going to cover like face animations and things like that, like moving mouths and eyes and things like that. So I think that'll come next. I'm trying to decide how far I want to go with this guy here right now with the face. I am just going to make some adjustments. Let's bring all of these. Oh no, yeah, that's fine. I'll bring the, oops, did not mean to hide that. Yeah, so Alt H is, oops, there we go. Alt H is unhide. If you accidentally hide something, I feel like this happens to me all the time where I hide things with the H key. I'm like, what? Where did it go? Alt H is unhide. So, and I believe it's somewhere in the view menu here. Yeah, Alt H. I don't know exactly where it is in the menu. I can find it if you need it. Okay, anyway, what was I doing? Okay, I was selecting these, and I was going to GX, move it in a little bit like this. See how that feels? That's a little bit more head-like for big guy here. Let's also, I just want to go side view, and I just want to kind of rotate him this way a little bit, just so he's kind of standing on the ground a little bit more. Maybe we'll move him up onto the actual ground. We can Shift A, add a plane here for him to stand on. No, I feel like I always do that, and then I realize that that's a mistake. It just gets in the way. Now that we've adjusted how he's standing, I'm going to just tweak his feet just a little bit, just so he's kind of standing on the ground. The other thing we could and should probably do is just like make this the bottom of his foot a crease, so we can go Shift E and crease that a little bit like that, just so he can really be standing on the ground. And that way we know for sure that it'll be flat on the ground too. So we can just take all these little vertices and put them right on the bottom if you can. Line these up. It's definitely trickier with the on cage thing, because it's not, when it moves, it's not one-to-one. It doesn't exactly move with your mouse. It kind of moves at a percentage of the way. It's like proportional. Okay, there we go. Now his feet are perfectly flat on the ground, which can come in handy. Okay, let's just give him like a couple of facial features, and then we'll call it good. So we'll shape the head to be just like a little bit more oblong, just to have like a little bit more of a human-ish shape like this. Like a little narrower jaw. Let's look at the front here. Kind of move it in like this. Maybe move his neck in a little bit more too. Just have it be like a little more rounded, and like maybe a little smaller too. Kind of, a lot of these things are just are sort of trying to feel it out, what fits with the character. The other thing that will probably make more sense is if I just add another loop cut in the center here, because this is like, these are too large of polygons to like actually create a face with. So I'm gonna Control R, add a cut here, and that way, you know, I'm actually looking at this from different angles too. Like these features are like a little bit annoying. Bring this one out. This is gonna be like where the nose is. And like he's got big jowls right now, so these definitely have to come in. So if I select this one, I believe I can scale. No, I just have to move it like this. Okay. Okay, it's starting to feel a little bit better. So you're gonna have to look at it from all angles too. Because even your orthographic views can kind of not be your friend here. Feeling like the top, this part of the head is still making me feel weird about it, and I should remind myself that I'm not trying to go for like a super realistic character here. The nice thing about doing it on cage as well with mirror modifiers, you can select either side, and it'll show you the reciprocating selection. Okay, that's fine for now. Okay, I'm going to select the nose here, and I'm going to Control Shift B, bevel this. So we can get a little nose coming out of here, and E-extrude just a little bit, just to get like a little button nose. Then I'll do 2 for my edge select here and select this, and we can Shift E, make this like a little, just like cinch that in just a little bit. So he's got kind of a nose. And then maybe I'll add another loop cut down here. Whoops, what am I doing here? Control R, adding a loop cut. Is it gonna do it? Oh, I think it's because I still have that edge selected. Control R. Ah, okay. So I kind of forgot about this. I've sort of broken my own rule a little bit here. When you bevel a point, it creates n-gons. I think this is a pretty popular way to kind of create simple characters is to bevel points like this. But like my fatal error here is now. I'll turn off X-ray select. And actually, I probably should have been doing that all along. Sorry, my doorbell's ringing. By doing this on the nose, I've created a 5-sided shape. So here's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. So this is a pentagon here. And the other thing that I'm nervous about checking right now is if I turn this off, if I've kind of created an abomination a little bit. So I'm going to turn off my display the subdivision, and yes, you can see that now this is getting to be like pretty messy. So sometimes it's good to like check in on your mesh from this perspective and just try to clean things up. So like there's no reason that I need to have this like so goofy like that. So why don't I actually do a top-down view and try to clean these up a little bit. So just kind of bring the cheeks in like this. This one can probably come out. These points are all out of whack. These points are all out of whack. Bring this one in a little bit. Bring this in a little bit, just so it's like a little bit more manageable. These ones can, whoops, I didn't mean to do that one back there. Just gonna bring these in. So it's like just a little bit more of a normal setup here. And then we can see what's going on. Oops, I am hiding things again. I'm hitting H instead of G. Okay, let's turn this on. Okay, it's looking a little bit more manageable. So what you may end up doing is like inserting faces. And like from here too, like this, you may decide that this is a point where you want to, well, okay, how about this? Let's do eyes before we do mouth. I was about to say before you want to bake on your mirror modifier. What we can do here is we can work on eyes. So we can do something like this, turn off clipping. We can insert faces, which is eye, and create like a couple of eye sockets like this. You know, you can kind of rotate them a little bit like that. And you can extrude it in like this if you want. Then, you know, we can add in eyeballs. Shift A, add a, well, and so this is, we actually want this to be separate objects. So we can Shift A, add a UV sphere like this. Scale it way down. GZ. You know, get it into position. Scale it down. You know, RX90, have it like face this way so that the circles are in front. You can add a modifier to this, as a mirror modifier to this. And you can say mirror object cube. So this could be, double click here, and this is Bruce. And so that anywhere, whoops, and you can parent our eyeball. I should be labeling things. Eyeball. You could Control P, parent this to that, parent object, and that way, like when you move, it'll stay with it because it's mirrored on that object. It's not mirrored on a particular plane. Anyway, I'm getting ahead a little bit. Okay, so like obviously this is like a little freaky as is. GY. Let's shade smooth this as well. But then you can adjust these things here. So you could go 2 for edge select and just kind of bring this out. So it's like he's got a little bit more of a socket here. Looks like he's kind of got sad eyes a little bit. So maybe do a vertex select 1. Maybe adjust these a little bit. Make it more whatever almond shaped people have on this. Is like starting to look a little angry. The other thing we can do is, I think at this point here, I'm going to take off my mirror modifier. So I'm going to bake this on. You got to be in object mode. No, not yet, not yet. You got to wait till the last possible moment. Okay, I'm going to take my knife tool. Whoa. I'm going to take my knife tool. I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit. Here's knife tool. And I want to cut from this vertex just to this line here. And spacebar. Just to, try to, whoops. Oh, and I turn off clipping off, guys. Sorry, undo. Turn clipping back on. Knife tool from here to here. Cut it. And then W for my selection tool. I just want to like tuck this in so the nose is like a little less pronounced here. Okay. And I'm trying not to make it like too much of a mess of polygons. Turning on X-ray select. Let's just reel these in a little bit. Bring his nose in just a little bit. You guys, this is terrible. I'm honestly like kind of embarrassed about how my character modeling skills are. But you'll be better. I promise. And this is, it's something that you can practice. I don't know, move this back. What do people's foreheads look like? I really don't know. Okay. I think I'm at an okay place here. All right. Real quick, mouth. Let's go back into object mode. I'm going to apply the mirror modifier. I've done it. And like, that's not to say you can't still do things symmetrically. You just have to be a little bit more careful. Okay. I'm going to, let's see. How do I want to like cleanly split up my polygons here? I may just cut across. Oh, let's experiment with this. What can we do to make this a little nicer? The other thing that I probably should do. Oh no, this all is okay. These are all quads up here. I was nervous that I had a couple of extra lines back here, but it looks okay. What we can do, and maybe I should turn off this as well, just so we can kind of see exactly where the lines are. But maybe I just like cut here, make a cut here, make a cut here, just so that that's like a little bit more even there. Yeah, I think that did the trick. So what I did here is I made a trolleygon, a triangle across the top of this 5-sided n-gon here, so that we've got a tri and a quad and a tri and a quad. And then what I can do is, hopefully it'll let me, if I go back to this, I can do Control R and do a loop cut, yes, right here across the face. And is this what I actually want to do? Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I just want to select both of these, W for my selection tool. Select both of these, and if I do insert like this, is that all I really wanted to do? Yeah, okay, that's okay. Let's go to the side view, and clearly something horrendous is happening with the chin. Well, I'm going to R rotate a little bit, and I can E extrude like this. Like that. And what you could do is like, you could bring this like way in like that. But make sure that it's along an axis that makes sense. let's do a side view again. E extrude, just get it right. And then G, move it down. And then W for my selection tool. Let's do 1 for vertex. I want to hit W too many times. I want the rectangle. GZ, move this up. Close your mouth a little bit. You can maybe have some more fun with the chin or things like that. And then like the last thing you can do is, just make like a bar of teeth. So if you go Shift A, cube, and you can SY and SZ like this, and then just scale the whole thing, and GZ, move it up here. Do you guys like my character? So he's got some teeth in there. Now, clearly, this is awful, and you should spend more time on this. It's just like a place to start, and like this is something that you'll absolutely get better at with practice. Also, like you can probably watch, like if you go on YouTube and look up like how to make a character in Blender, there's millions of options. So I am going to continue to work with this monstrosity just for fun, to show you like what we can do with it. You don't need to start your character this week for your character creation process, but like I just wanted to expose you to some of the like techniques that you may use when creating a character and some of the considerations you should make ahead of time. But like honestly, the big thing is how are you like subdividing? What kind of like topology are you wanting to use? And like what like modifiers and methods should you think about before you start? Is there anything else I wanted to show you with this? I'll continue with this. Like I said, I might. I was thinking maybe today I might put an armature in there just for fun, but you know what else like looks really awkward to me right now? Obviously, this is like terrifying. But I feel like the head is too small and the arms are too low. The trick is like ahead of time I was like, oh, I'm gonna make something like silly that like is sort of cartoonish. But then I start trying to make it look a little bit too real. Like I feel like the arms are too real. The head is like in an awkward realism space. This cube is gonna be teeth. Do I need to do any more adjustments? Oh, I don't know. Shift click on that. Control P, parent. Maybe I'll fix that later. So, okay. X-ray select. I think I need the head and everything to be just like a little bit more cartoony. Like I need it to be like a little bigger and a little wider. Oh, but the eyes don't come with it. I think I need the arm to be a little higher. Oh, but see my because now my mirror modifier is off. So this is another like big thing here, guys. When do you take off your mirror modifier? Yeah, see, I don't think I can do that right now. Anyway. And the other things I should say like sculpting. So like sculpting can be a great way to make a face. So I just did it with like polygon modeling and extruding, but like maybe once you get to the like face phase, you start using the sculpt tool. And so that's another thing that it's like, well, if you're sculpting, you need to have enough geometry and you need to make sure that there's enough vertexes for you to sculpt. So like you have to at some point bake in your subdivide with that. So lots of different considerations, and I probably didn't make any of that easier for you. So just like we're just looking at it, we're just learning about it, we're just talking about it, nothing necessarily for you to do yet with a character. Next week, we'll talk about clothing and hair and how you can add those to your character. The final thing I'll talk about today is your hourly number 2. So hopefully you finished your hourly 1. Hourly. Last semester I called these weeklies. I think that's why I'm thrown off. Your 1 hour model number 2. Hopefully you finished your 1 hour model number 1. Your 1 hour model number 2, since we're doing like sort of lifelike creation, I want you to spend an hour looking at some reference images, thinking about different methods you might use, and attempting to start making a duck. I was inspired because there's this duck behind me. I think these used to be like, this is some sort of antique that my wife got, but it served some sort of purpose for hunting reasons. I don't exactly know. But like, do a something search and look up ducks and think about how you would make a duck. Some of the things, the methods that we haven't really talked about yet this semester, or haven't really recapped, are like, oh, what if you used like a curve? What if you had a curve that you extruded? Or what if you, I don't know. It's a natural shape. So like these are the things that I kind of struggle with personally as a 3D creator, or natural looking things. But do your best. Just don't spend more than an hour. Submit it to D2L. Also, don't forget, next Monday is Labor Day, so you won't have a lecture next week. So we'll Zoom in 2 weeks, and we'll just like look at the 1 hours, see how they go, see how they went, see how it's going. Yeah, it'll be good. Enjoy your week off from 3D modeling. And look forward to seeing you soon. Email me if you have any questions. Okay, bye.